have made it to lesson 8, and it may look obvious right now what we're about to tackle, okay? And it also may look familiar from what we've done over the last few days. I can round multi-digit numbers, okay? We've been doing that for a few days now, to any place using the vertical number line. Yesterday, what place did we stay in that they wanted us to round to? We practiced that place a lot of times. I heard it.
Thousands.
To the thousands place. Okay, so this time what's different is we might be rounding to the thousands, we might be rounding to the hundreds, we might be rounding to the 10,000s, the millions, the 100,000s. You're going to see and notice that no matter where we round, the procedure is the same. Okay, the method, the steps, they're the same. Okay. So, if you would, get out your whiteboard. Let's leave our place value chart, but get out your whiteboard and your marker bag. Just put those out. We'll use them in a minute. Done a good job of having your materials with you, leaving them in the right spot. Let's keep that up. Okay. You don't have to take the top off your marker, just have it out ready to go. Before we get started with the practice problems, because we're jumping right into rounding some numbers, I want somebody to tell me what I need to do to round a number. You to tell me what you remember. You might not remember every step. I do want you to tell me what you do remember. Let's see if I can turn that around in a minute. What do you remember? What's one thing that we do, Reagan?
First, you need to see what you're rounding to.
So important. I'm glad you said that right off the bat. The first thing you need to do is figure out where you're rounding to. Guess what? Yesterday, that was an easy question because the whole target yesterday told you we were rounding to the thousands. Today, it tells you any place. And so if you're not careful to read the directions, you might get totally messed up on where you round to, and it usually will be a different number. Every now and then, it's the same. Okay, so let's move here. Check and see what you're rounding to. What else do we need to do when we round a number? Anything you can remember. That's the only thing we remember. Then we got a lot more work to do than I thought. Okay? Okay, we find that place and put a dot on top. It just helps you focus on that place. What else do we do? And you can tell me about either way. We've really done it 2 different ways. What else do you remember? What did we draw on our boards? What did we have in front of us the last couple of days?
A number line.
Okay, what kind of number line? It doesn't always look like this, does it? What's that word?
Vertical.
Okay, good. Vertical. It's going up and down. For some reason, our series, our book, our math program saw that as helping you more, a vertical number line than a horizontal line. Could we do this same thing on the horizontal number line? Sure. We could lay the number line over. Anything else? We need a number line. We look and see what we're rounding to. We put the dot. Yes. Okay. If what is 5 or more? The number that has the dot above it? Okay, the one that the arrow points to it. The one that's to the right of that number. Okay? That's like our street sign. That's what we look at to know what to do. Anything else we do? What do we do with that number line? We don't just draw a line. What do we do with that? Brandon, what do we do on the number line?
We gotta label the number line.
And how do we do that?
We put the first 1,000 and then the half of
Yes.
1,000 down, and then we put the next 1,000.
Okay, and that's if we're rounding by thousands, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. If we're rounding by something else, like if we're rounding to the hundreds place, we need to look for the next 100. If we're rounding to the 10,000s place, we need to look at how many 10,000s do we have, and what's the next 10,000. So that we're going to do some of that today. Yes.
But when it says rounding 100, you just don't write 744. You have to write the whole number. But zeros up.
Okay. I don't know if you caught what she just said, but this is important. It's going to be real important today. If they told us to round this number to the hundreds place, we would do those things that you said. Let's get a pen so we can do that. I would find the hundreds place. I would draw an arrow to the number next door. I've got my number line. But what Reagan just said is I don't look at that and go, oh, I've got 700s. Let me put 700 there. No. You can't just drop part of a number off, okay? We've got to bring the stuff on this side with us. So, yes, there's a 7 in the hundreds place, but I've got to put these digits there too. So let's erase that. What number, if I was rounding to the hundreds, what number would I put on the bottom?
Oh.
Mason?
72 is 700,000.
Okay. I would put 72,700. Okay. What's one more hundred than that? Caleb?
72,800.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're going to keep that. This might change. But on the number line, you're going to need all of that. Okay? Anybody know what the middle number would be on there? Think. We're going from 100 to the next. So what's half of 100? What would it be?
72,750.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So we know what to do. I know this says 1,000. So let's go ahead and jump in and do that. So we're going to do this one together, and then several today we're going to try on our own. But this one asks us to round to the thousands place. So that's in red. It's standing out at me. I need to know that. I'm going to find my thousands place, and I'm going to draw an arrow next door. So if you would right now, on your board, you first need to put the number, leave a little space above it so you can put that dot and arrow. And you're also going to draw a vertical number line that's waiting for you to put the numbers on there. $72,744. Okie doke. So if we're rounding to the thousands place, how many thousands, now remember we put these all together, how many thousands do we have in this number? How many thousands do we have in this number? And if it helps you to box that in, you can do that. Charlotte, how many? We have 72 thousands. So that's our bottom number. That is what we already have. I'm trying to figure out, is this number closer to what we already have? Or is it going to be closer to the next one up? So if we add 1,000, what is the next 1,000? After 72,000 would be how many? If you're counting, 71, 72, 73,000. These are just 1,000 apart, even though they look like really large numbers, and they are. But they're just 1,000 apart. So what would our middle number be? Half of 1,000 is 500. What do we think that middle number would be? Let's see if anybody's already put it on there. Yes. Give it a try. Not 5,000. You got the digit right. 72,500. So I want to make sure it's not the 500 by itself. 72,500. Good. All right, y'all know what to do at this point. Put a dot on the number line where you think this number belongs. If we've got 3 benchmark numbers, we've got 3 numbers to guide us. We know our number is somewhere between those 3 dots. Okay. Would you put this number in the bottom half, right in the middle, in the top half, Valerie? Where would you put your dot? So you put it in the top half. Okay, you didn't put it down here, you put it up here. Okay, that's exactly right. Our dot should be right about here because this one has 700s and this one has 500. It's a little bit larger than halfway. So what is our answer? Will, what's our answer? 73,000. If I did it the other way, I know I'm going to keep my 7. I know the 2 is going to look next door to that 7. And that 7 is like a street sign that tells us to do what? What is that 2 going to do? Is it going to stay a 2? Or is it going to become a 3?
A 3.
That 7 is 5 or greater. It's going to tell the 2 to go up 1. So it's going to become a 3. What happens to these 3 digits? They turn into
zeros.
Okay. All right. Do you have a question about this? Is there some part of this, any part of this, that is where you get stuck? That you might have a question. How did we do? I know we've done a lot of these, but you still might be sitting there going, I don't understand how they did this part. Because right now it's pretty simple when we're all doing it together. Let's clear off our board then, and we're going to move on. Now, if you're thinking the slide did not change because that's the same number we just had, it did change. Something's different up here, but you've got to look closely to find it. What changed?
You got to round to 10,000.
Round to 10,000. So we're rounding to this place now. Okay, I want you to take a minute, write down the number, draw your number line, and I want you to try and work this problem. I want you to stop, even if you're just trying to finish up. I want you to stop because I've caught something that we need to talk about. Because I've seen it on a lot of boards. Okay. Up until now, we've said if it says thousands, we are going to write all of those. Okay. But this one said 10,000s. Okay. In the thousands, let's just say in this thousands area here, how many groups of 10 do we have? Okay, how many? 7. So as much as the 2 might like to be a part of that, the 2,000 part, this is too small. It's not another group of 10. So how many groups of 10,000 do we have?
7.
It's 70,000. Okay, and that is a little confusing. So one more 10,000 would be okay. Any questions why this is 70,000 and not 72,000? Yeah.
Because it says rather number to the nearest 10,000.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is why it is there. I didn't know if I needed to explain that any further. Okay. So we put our number on the number line. Actually, what is halfway between? These are 10,000 apart. So what's half of 10,000?
7.
5,000. Okay. If Gage has 5,000 and I have 5,000 together, that's 10,000. Okay. So what would our middle number be? What would our midpoint be?
70,000.
Hold on, Alexander, what'd you put? Say it one more time. Well, this is 70, so what's halfway between 70 and 80? If I was just counting my numbers, what's halfway between 70 and 80? 70 what? Let's help her out. What's halfway between 70 and 80? Yeah.
75.
75. So this would be 75,000. Now, can you put 72,744 on that number line? Sure you can. Go ahead and do that if you haven't already. That dot is what tells you to round to because it's going to be closer to either 70,000 or closer to 80,000. Where would this go? Over here. Well, we've got 72,000. This is 75. It can't be that high. It's going to have to be somewhere down in here. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. So right about there, maybe. So our number is closer to 70,000 or to 80,000?
70.
Do you see that? Okay. This is 72,000. It's smaller than 70,000. It's going to be down here. It's going to be closer to 70,000. Now, I want to stop and tell you something. A problem like this, I think this is why a lot of people stop liking the number line as much. Because they get confused. This is what's happened in the past. They've gotten confused as to what numbers to put here. Okay? If that happens to you and you're not sure these are correct, then just stop and do this method right here. Put your dot on the target, draw your arrow next door. That 2 tells that 7 to do what? Brandon, that 2 tells that 7 to stay a 7 or become an 8?
Stay a 7.
Stay a 7. Now, from the arrow all the way down, what do all of those digits become? Zeros. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Okay. Now, some people like that better because they're not having to work with that number line, because it is confusing sometimes which numbers go on the number line. If the tool you're using is becoming harder to do than the problem itself, we might not need that tool for that. Okay, so if the number line is confusing you more than the problem, choose the other way. Okay, let's try another one of these. This is, again, this just takes lots of practice. We are never great at rounding when we first started in 4th grade. As much as we try to be, and y'all are working really hard to be good at this, it just takes a little while. All right, we have a brand new number, and it is asking us to round to the 10,000th place. So let's put this number on our board and a number line, and we'll walk through this a little bit more together than the last one. Go ahead and put the number on your board. Even if that number line is not your favorite tool, I want you to add it. It does help you see what we're doing. We are rounding to the 10,000th place, so you're going to need to find that 10,000th place and draw an arrow next door. And woo, that 10,000th place is right in the middle almost, isn't it? Okay. Now, they didn't just say thousands, they said 10,000. So I need to look at the 10,000s and over right here. Okay. How many 10,000s are we starting with? What am I going to put as my bottom number? I want you to think about that. What is our bottom number going to be, Reagan?
It's going to be 33, 10,000.
Okay, let me look at your number. Okay, 300 and what? There you go. This is our bottom number, 330,000. Because all of these are big enough to be 10,000s, and all of these are big enough to be 10,000s. That is not yet. 7 is not quite big enough to be a 10,000. So it's like the little brother or the little sister that gets left behind when they want to go and do what big brother or big sister's doing. Okay, they're just not quite big enough yet to join the 10,000. Okay, so what is one more 10,000? If we're rounding to the 10,000s, we've got to figure out what's the first 10,000 and what's the next 10,000. Okay, put that number at the top of your number line and go ahead and finish this. What would 10,000 more be? If I have 330,000, what's 10 more thousand? 320,000, 330,000, 340,000. Gage, what would go in the middle?
335,000.
Good. 335,000. A lot of big numbers there. Now, put your dot on your number line where it would go. Look at our number that we wrote in the middle of our board. Where would it go? Good. Kennedy, would it go in the bottom half or the top half? The top half. Good. 337 is bigger than 335. It would land right about there. Okay? So So our number is closer to 340,000 or 330,000? Everybody.
340,000.
For sure. Okay. I'm not sure if I did that right. Oh my goodness, those numbers are so large. Whatever will I do? I'm going to come over here and check myself. I know I keep this 3. I know this 3 is going to look next door to the 7. The 7 is 5 or greater. It's bigger than 5. So what is this 3 going to do?
It's going to be a 4.
It's going to turn into a 4. It's one more. Add one more to it. What about from the arrow over, all of those digits? They're going to turn into 0. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Some people like this way because it's faster. Some people like this way because it doesn't confuse them with the numbers on the number line. Today, with these larger numbers, are you liking the number line better? Raise your hand. How many of you are liking this way better today? Yeah, that number got a little higher today. At some point, it does start to change a little bit. But you can let's say we get to the end of the year. Let's say we're taking a test or something, that 10 ready thing or whatever that comes along, and you have a rounding problem. Can you pull out your number line and draw it on the page and use it to work out the problem? Yeah, it's one more tool that you have to use. Okay, let's go on to one more. We're going to try to hurry through a few more of these. I want us to see the 100,000s place. I want you to see how this one works. Okay, again, put the new number, and you might just be able to erase your numbers off your number line and keep the number line. If you can't, it's no big deal. Okay. All right, so we need this number on the board, a number line beside it. Now I'm doing what Reagan said. I'm paying attention to what we're rounding to, and this time it has changed again. We are rounding to the 100,000s place. So right now, I'm going to put a dot over that 100,000 place. I'm going to focus on that. Now this question is a little simpler for folks to answer. How many 100,000s are there in this number? They've not just said 1,000. I can't just grab all of these. Not this time. Because I need the ones that are big enough to be 100,000s. How many are there? What's in the 100,000s place?
7.
Yeah. There are 700,000s. Are these big enough to be 100,000s? No. Are these big enough to be 100,000s? No. So big brother gets to be by himself this time. Okay, there are 700,000. That's our bottom number. There are 700,000s, which looks like this in standard form. So you ask yourself, well, what's one more 100,000? I got to keep it in 100,000s because that's what it asks us to round to. Okay, how many more? I'm sorry, what would the number be if we added one more?
It would be 800,000.
Yes, just one more 100,000. So what number would go in the middle? Martin, what about the middle here? These are 100,000 apart.
700,500.
Okay. You've got the right digit, you just got it in the wrong place. If I've got 100,000, what's a half of 100,000? Yeah.
705,000.
Okay, you got a little bigger than he did, but it's still in the wrong place. Try it again.
7,050. 750,000.
Okay. Y'all knew there was a 5 involved there. You just had to get it in the right spot. Okay? 50,000 is half of 100,000. So that would be our middle number. Now I want you to put that on the number line to help you figure out what this rounds to. What is it going to be closest to? 700,000 or 800,000? Where did you put this number on the number line? Did you put it in the top half or the bottom half? Where'd you put it? You put it in the bottom half. Where did you put it? Bottom half. Where'd you put it?
The bottom half.
Bottom half. Gage, where'd you put it? Okay. Everybody, where'd you put it?
Bottom half.
749. Ooh, it's right up under 750, isn't it? It's really close. But it's still in the bottom half. Close doesn't matter. It's still in the bottom half, so it's closer to 700,000. So what does one of these look like if we're doing it the other way? We still look next door. Is the 4 going to change the 7? I want this or I want this. Is the 4 going to change the 7? Everybody's answering me. You agree. You disagree. Is the 4 going to change the 7 to another digit? Yes? That 4 is big enough to change that 7? Brandon, I'm seeing some disagreement. Tell us what you're thinking.
It can't change the 7 because it's not over the 75,000.
Okay, that's one way to look at it too. But it's also not 5 or bigger, is it? That 7 is going to stay the same. What happens to all the other digits from the from the arrow over? Yes. They turn into zeros. It's like somebody just goes poof and they are all zeros. And it's closer to 700,000. Okay? The number line helps you see where that dot is. It helps you see it. This is what's happening on the number line. Okay? All right. Let's do one more. And this one I'm going to let you work from start to finish on your own, and then we'll talk about it. So if you can save your number line, save it and just erase the numbers. Notice where they're asking you to round to. And then go ahead and start this with your number line. Do your best to work that out. Just give it a try. Don't forget to put your dot on your number line where you think this number is. How many 100,000s are you starting with? And what's one more 100,000? Give you just a few more seconds to finish this up. We'll talk about it. A lot of thinking going on in this room right now. Okay. Keep going. If you're not quite finished, keep going. What is the bottom number on your number line? How many 100,000s are you starting with? Haley, what'd you put as your bottom number?
900,000.
That's exactly right. 900,000. Because these thousands right here are not big enough to be 100,000s yet. Okay. What's your top number?
1 million.
Okay, whoa, we finally made it to the millions place, didn't we? One more 100,000 puts you at 1 million. Half of 100,000 is 50,000. So what's our middle number? Brandon, what's our middle number?
Our middle number will be 9,000.
It's okay. You've got it correct on your board. It's just reading them sometimes. So read this. What is that number? 950, right?
950,000.
Exactly. That's, you know how we write what we say when we write it in word form? If you're having trouble reading a number, cover that up. What is this? By itself, it's just 908. So 908,899. You can kind of read those in sections. So 950,000 is correct. If you put the dot in the right place, would it be in the top half wheel or the bottom half? Definitely the bottom. So this is closer to 900,000. Okay. If you did it the other way, is that 0 going to push that 9 up to a 10? No. So it's going to stay a 9 and everything else becomes a 0. Now, I have a question for you. A little challenging thought here. Okay, 908,899. I'm going to go to a little bit bigger space. Come on. $908,899. Was that it? That was it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to change something. Don't put this on your board. I just want you to watch. I know why this isn't working. You gotta come over here, Miss Wendy. Let's just do this. Okay. Okay. What if it were 978,000? And I'm not going to draw the number line right now. I'm going to do this way. I'm going to find the 100,000th place. I'm going to look next door. This kind of problem always makes us nervous because it's like I can watch your faces and it's like it's a 9. The 9's got to change. What do we do? Well, if a 9 is, if you're going to add one more to a 9, what are you going to get?
1 million.
No, hold on. Don't. If I add one more to 9, I get what?
10.
10. That's what I wanted. But you're right. This is going to become a 10. 10 is not going to fit where the 9 is because it's 2 digits. It's like trying to take a big giant bus and fit it into the parking place that's only made for a bicycle or a motorcycle. It's not going to fit. So we've got to push it out to another place, which becomes the millions. So let's say this becomes a 10. I did the same thing. Underneath, I write that new number, but I make it stick out further because it's bigger. And then everything else becomes a 0. So don't let those 9s scare you off. You do the same thing. It's just going to push you into a new place value that wasn't already there. Okay? All right, I just wanted you to see that because 9s sometimes make us nervous when it comes to rounding. I'm going to let us look at this problem. We're not going to hang out here for very long.
The clock's still missing.
It's still missing?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you're going to see a problem like this where they want you to round the numbers first, then you add the two rounded numbers. Okay. So what do they want you to round it to? A bunch of boxes, I guess. Make the boxes round. Okay. 100,000s. You're going to round this to the 100,000s. You're going to round this to the 100,000s. And then you're going to add the two rounded numbers together. It's like somebody saying, oh, yeah, last night who was playing last night? Who was playing in Monday Night Football last night? Who were the two teams?
Chester and Alabama.
Not here, but okay, we can use that. Chester County and Alabama. Yeah, but, well, it's easier to say this with professional teams. There was like 300,000 people that came to see the football game Sunday, and then 500,000 came on Monday night. Did they really mean it was exactly 300,000 or exactly? No, because that's a lot to count. They were saying about that much. So about how many people watch those two football games all together? I would take this rounded number and this rounded number and put them together. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a minute to do this. This is our last problem before we move on. We'll take our restroom break in just a minute before we do our problem set. You are going to need plenty of room on your board. If you want to draw a line to separate because there's so much work going on, if that helps you, you're going to round one number over here and one number over here, and then you're going to add those two rounded numbers together. So I'm going to give you a minute or two to do that. Okay. I need both of those numbers. Both of them are getting rounded to the 100,000. If the number line is tricking you and it's, do it the other way. Okay. If the number line is where you're getting stuck, do it the other way. It's fine to do that. What does our first number round to? 505,341. What does it round to? What'd you get, Will, for the first one?
I didn't do it.
It's okay. What did you say that it rounded to?
500,000.
Well, if I put my dot on my number line, it is definitely closer to the bottom. So it does round to 500,000. Okay. What about this second number? What 100,000 does it round to?
200,000.
To 200,000? Well, 193 is definitely closer to 200 than 150 even. So when you add these together, you're going to add 500,000 plus 200,000. Make sure your numbers are lined up. And 700,000 would be your answer. All right, go ahead and clear off your boards. We're going to move on to our problem set in just a little bit for some extra practice.